You are now listening to the Friends of Rugby podcast. Relax your anus. Balls. Thick thighs. Camille Shat. Where's his neck? Eddie Jones. You're fucked, mate. We're nice now.
And we are recording.
Politics. Let's go.
We're swinging a curveball at everyone.
Yeah, we're not talking about rugby.
We're not talking about rugby. We're talking about politics.
We're not.
No, we're not going to talk about politics. How you doing, Frank?
Yeah, I'm good. Late night. Lots of rugby yesterday. Big win for our team.
Yeah, homegrown. The homegrown rugby.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I'm
The
feeling
real
good.
rugby.
The real rugby on the streets. Street rugby.
We should just change the podcast to
Street
local
rugby.
Street rugby. The real shit.
Yeah.
These guys get real.
Yeah. No, it's good because our team, as you know, has had a rough couple of years. So to get a win, really good for the morale. How you doing?
Good. I spent the day cleaning the house.
Yeah, you were missed at prop.
And he missed a prop, and yeah. But I also came to a conclusion yesterday.
Rugby is God.
No, well, that too. But I
God is
came to a
rugby.
big conclusion that the Glasgow Warriors listened to this podcast
Yeah.
and shoved everything in our face.
There's a poster of things we've said about them on the changing room wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, we write them off so often.
When they're walking out of the
Yeah.
locker room,
Yeah.
they're smacking it.
Yeah.
They're smacking all the
quotes.
quotes.
Yeah.
Fuck these
And
guys.
both our eyes have crosses through them. Yeah.
All right, what are we going to do today, boys? We're going to prove the Friends of Rugby wrong.
Again.
That's my only logical explanation of this is that they've had to have listened to the podcast.
That's our egos talking, isn't it?
No,
But
it's
it
not
makes
our egos.
perfect sense.
It makes perfect
Yeah,
logical sense.
in a beautiful narcissistic world, Glasgow are winning because we said they couldn't do it many times.
The Friends of Rugby podcast didn't believe in them and doubted them the whole time.
I'm still not sure I believe in them, and they played the best game of rugby I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we want
Should
to
we start right there? Let's start right there.
You want to start with that? No, let's start with the first game.
Okay.
Let's start with because this is going to be the Irish collapse of 2024. Look how happy you are.
I'm happy about the Leinster loss.
That's why you're so pumped and ready to do this podcast today.
And I only woke up like 20 minutes ago.
I was like, Frank is like
I leapt out of bed
oddly
with a shamrock in my
eager
eye
to get into this
and a Guinness in my hand. Yeah.
This is probably the best day of rugby. Yeah, Saturday must have been the best outcomes of rugby you've seen.
I think you've got me wrong. I don't hate Irish teams. I hate Leinster.
Yeah.
You can air all you want. I've got time for Munster. Ulster's my favourite, but I got time for Munster. I don't have time for Leinster, the 14-man Irish team. Like, what are you on about? Win a game. Let's start with that.
Yeah, let's talk with this implosion of this game. Leinster Bulls felt like watching it really felt like the Toulouse Leinster game.
How so?
It was just Leinster just trying to keep up the whole game.
I felt a little different. I felt like Toulouse, Leinster was real boxing match. You punch me, I punch you for a long time. But yeah, Leinster felt more in control at the start of the Toulouse game. In this one, I felt like I didn't feel like Bulls were always going to win. I did feel they had the edge for a lot of that game. I felt like Leinster weren't really in it in the way they were in it against Toulouse.
I had when I was watching that, I felt the Bulls were going to pull this away.
Yeah, I did.
They
looked so powerful, didn't they?
And they play a really open game.
That's what surprises people.
And they were stretching the field out.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of shell-shocked Leinster a bit.
They do. They play very South African rugby, and I mean South African rugby about a decade ago, where it's like we hit you hard in the middle and we swing it wide, and our backs are lightning fast. The backs don't do anything very complicated. They're just incredibly fast players, right?
Because there were some walk-in tries. Like that Goosen.
But he just punched a hole at lightning speed, though, didn't he?
But he walked. He just no one touched him.
Yeah.
Just waltzed right in there. That was very, Leinster don't let tries like that happen very often. Their defense is great.
And I don't think it was a bad defensive move. I just think it was a good attacking play. Like they just made that whole punch through at lightning speed.
Oh, 100%.
You know?
But it was just something odd. Like you don't see, like when you score against Leinster, you have to really work for it.
You do.
And they let in some soft tries. There was just
They're not used to defending at that pace, I think. They're used to like soaking up heavy hits.
They've sacrificed something this year. Leinster have sacrificed something this year.
I know exactly what you mean.
They have sacrificed their offense for their defense because their defense is really good. They're a really good defensive team. And there was times where any other team, like when the Bulls got up to the line, like any other team that was playing against the Bulls, like the Bulls would have scored.
Yeah.
And Leinster somehow kept the ball out. They somehow stopped this try.
Yeah.
And like this year, like there's a noticeable difference in their defense and there's a noticeable decline in their attack creativity.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like how people were complaining about the Irish team like 4 years ago about how their attack was just like very simple, very like lame.
Yeah.
There was no flair to it. The guys were just holding the ball.
Very micromanaged.
Yeah.
I kind of disagree a bit, actually. I think they've sacrificed some of that directness, some of that organization in favor of much quicker ruck speed and some more creative attacking plays in offense. Because when I'm watching them play, they still had really good ruck speed. Right?
They do have good ruck speed.
And I think when they shift to defense, they're still very, very good at it, right? And, you know, credit to them. They kept that scoreline low and the Bulls looked like they could have scored 40 tries on a worse team. 40 tries is ridiculous. 40 points on a worse team. So their defense was still very good yesterday.
Leinster's defense was great yesterday.
It was excellent.
So, yeah.
Like, they played a very good game. Like, and I'm not saying they got battered or anything. Like, it was close, very close. I just think like they're trying to learn to be more creative, and they are succeeding at that. But they have sacrificed a little clinical edge in a way, because I thought that against Toulouse there were chances they should have taken, and I thought if there was a direct Leinster team of 5 years ago, they would have scored some of those. I don't want to crap on them too much though. Like, it was a very entertaining game of rugby. I think both teams like contributed, and you've got to like. I hate to admit it, like going to South Africa is difficult for anyone, isn't it?
Yep,
it is.
It is.
It
difficult.
really is.
It's an advantage.
Yeah, it is an advantage.
It's also an advantage if, like, South Africa has to go up north. That's why I don't think like people complain about the travel and how it's like an advantage. It is an advantage.
Totally advantage.
But like if they have to go up north, like they don't travel very well.
It swings both ways.
It swings both ways.
Stormers lost, I think, because they were on the road. That was contributed anyway.
Also, I don't feel bad for Leinster because they had every opportunity in the world to have a home game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they did a lot of
they made very critical mistakes late in the
squad
season.
fuckery.
Yeah.
Like throughout the season that led them to like finish fourth?
Yeah, it backfired big time, didn't it? Yeah.
This whole season for Leinster is kind of
it's the same as last season. It's a letdown.
It's even worse. Oh no, they didn't even make it to the it's almost exact same.
It's basically the same.
It's the exact same outcome.
Yeah. Well, except that they didn't make it to the final.
The
Leinster were in the final last year in the URC, weren't they? So that's the only difference.
No, they didn't. Because what's their nuts? Munster beat the Stormers.
I thought Munster beat Leinster in the final.
No, they beat. Oh, hold on a second here. I'm confused now.
Want to Google it?
I thought it was. I thought they went to South Africa and beat the Stormers.
No.
Yeah, you can Google it.
I will.
Because I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
Yeah, I'm happy to be wrong.
Because Leinster...
No, you are right. My mistake. Yeah, you are right.
Yeah, and then Leinster put out that B team and lost to the Stormers.
Yeah, I thought they... Okay, I might be wrong again. I thought they lost to Munster in the semi.
To save the dudes for the... Oh, they might have lost to Munster. No,
They did.
Okay, you're getting me.
That's one I'm pretty sure I'm right about.
They put in a second team against someone and lost.
I don't think it was a second team.
They didn't put out their best guys to save them for the Champions Cup final.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
There we go.
Got there in the end.
God damn your volume.
What's wrong with my volume?
Keeps going boom, boom, boom.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
Turn down the volume on your laptop.
Sorry. Yeah. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
What a start to the day. Anyway, we're getting lost in the weeds. So, Bulls, Stormers, I thought... Yeah, I think I said everything I want to say about the Bulls. Like, they were just very powerful, very fast, very motivated, and they just looked hard to live with. They didn't do anything too exciting. They were just, everyone was playing their heart out, and they were running so hard into contact, right? And when they get it to their backs were just like lightning fast. And I think Leinster
their forward pack like opened up the game for them.
Yeah.
Because Leinster got kind of bullied in that department, even the scrum.
That's right. Yeah, that's
they were
right.
Getting pumped in the scrum.
Yeah, and I think
right away you knew it was like bad news Bears.
Yeah.
They went with Ross Byrne again, and we're all like thinking Ross Byrne.
I hated on him a bit last week, but yeah, he's not. I would have Kieran Frawley every time at 10. I really like Kieran Frawley.
Yeah, but everyone, like, you know what? Even the Irish media like agrees with you on that.
Yeah. But
we never see Frawley at 10.
Like,
so, like, how does everyone know that he's going to be better? Like, if he never plays there.
Yeah, it's very islandy kind of problem, isn't it? Just not playing, not experimenting enough.
Like, they went with the safe. What really is happening is the conspiracy we've been talking about.
South Africa
has
wormed their way in.
Jacques, like, called Razzie Erasmus, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'm corrupting the system from the inside."
Don't you worry, Razzie.
Don't worry,
we're going to lose to the Bulls. It's all part of the plan.
We're corrupting the Irish system from the inside. That's really what's happening here.
You wait 2 weeks' time down in South Africa.
But always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
It's weird because I don't think of Leinster. I still think of them as a championship-winning team. I think that I still think of them as they won it, even though they haven't won it in a while in neither competition. It's weird.
I think I said this last week or something like that. Like I put the Bulls up there with like the upper echelons of the Northern Hemisphere rugby.
Yeah, and it's true.
Yeah, I thought this game could have gone either way.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the Bulls were going to win because it was in South Africa.
Yeah.
If this game was played in Dublin, I would have been wholeheartedly thought that Leinster would have got the job done too. These teams are close.
They are close, 100%.
Yeah, and the scoring.
Like you said, South Africans don't travel well outside South Africa, do they?
Yeah.
So no, I think
evidently Irish don't either. So
maybe not.
Also, this says a lot of things about watching this game too, because like since Leinster's pack is basically the Ireland pack,
that whole team was basically the Ireland team.
And watching them get like manhandled around like that by just the Bulls.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, that kind of scares me for the.
Yeah. Well, this is what I was telling you a while ago. It's like. Yeah, Ireland are not going to fear South Africa because they've been playing them. But I think the advantage is greater for South Africa because they've played the Ireland team with the Bulls, right? They've concentrated so much of Ireland's players in Leinster that you add Tadhg and Peter O'Mahony. It's not a huge difference. Don't get me wrong, those are two excellent players. Bundy Aki. But you know what I will say? Gary Ringrose played excellent.
He always plays excellent.
He's a very good rugby player. So... You know, if you could choose between Aki, Henshaw, and Ringrose, and you've got three excellent centres there, right?
Also, you didn't have Hugo Keenan.
He's a big loss.
Yeah,
that's true.
Hugo Keenan not in the back there.
Yeah.
To solidify that, and also
Jimmy O'Brien, wasn't it, the fullback? I'm
pretty sure
he was okay.
Yeah, and then not having like Jack Crowley brings a different element to the attack other than Ross Byrne.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know if Harry Byrne was injured. Leinster have like 19
They've got a lot of bloody 10s. They should use some of them.
Five halves. So like they couldn't. O'Brien was at the 15.
Oh, I should say as well, when Frawley did come on, he was bad. So as much as I like him, like when he came on, I was like, oof, Frawley, you're proving everyone right here.
A lot of these players just had a bad day at the office. Like even Gibson Park. Was felt a little bit off. He got pulled off at 55 minutes.
He did, didn't he?
So, like, I don't know. Maybe this is like there's a lot of like aging players too.
Yeah.
So, because like Furlong looked tired as fuck.
The front row looked knackered.
Porter, like Andrew Porter, is scrumming is not the greatest. He's not the greatest scrummer.
I think he's a very good scrummer.
You think he's a very good
scrummer? He's a very good scrummager.
I think he gets a lot of penalties.
I think he's tired. He gives away penalties, but I think that's also why he's a good scrummer because he knows how to drive
to get a penalty.
The TM dark arts. Like he knows very well the dark arts, and he's a big boy and he squats a lot, and he knows what he's doing. But when it doesn't go right for him, or the ref clocks onto some things, he gets called for it, rightly so. But that was what makes a good scrummager, right?
He puts a lot of minutes every game too. He's averaging. I think I bet you anything he's averaging 70 minutes a game.
And that can't be good for you at that intensity, because he's gone Champions Cup final, he's gone URC semi-final, and now he's got to go down South Africa to carry the weight of Ireland on his shoulders for a third time this bloody
But he
year.
also gets Leinster also gives these guys months off at a time, resting them.
I think, though, if you have 3 very high emotion, high intensity games / series in a short condensed period of time, I could have 6 months off and that's still going to kick my ass. That's a lot of high intensity rugby for anyone.
Just made me a little bit scared for this. I'm not so confident anymore about this Ireland team going down to South Africa anymore.
I always thought it was 50-50, but this does add something to the pot of the drama, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
Because it really watching them kind of get bullied by not even the box.
Yeah.
Not even by the box.
Yeah.
Just the Bulls.
We'll talk about South African injuries in a bit, but I think Rassie will be happy that there weren't any South African injuries after that game as well.
Yeah, these two nations are creating they're creating a rivalry.
It's the start of
here.
Something special, isn't it?
It's the start of a special rivalry.
Yeah, and I like this because it's like a very North-South hemisphere actually meeting of equals rather than it being South Africa, New Zealand forever and ever,
And I was looking at I don't exactly know where the Bulls play. Do they play in Durban? Do they play in Pretoria?
I think it's Pretoria, is it?
Yeah.
So we should learn that, shouldn't we? We asked this question.
I was looking at the kilometer difference from Dublin to I think
it's the opposite side
Pretoria.
of the fucking planet.
It's over 6,000 kilometers.
I know. Yeah.
So it is far.
Yeah.
And then right now the Edmonton Oilers are playing the Panthers.
Yeah.
And they're talking about how that's the farthest
anyone's
Stanley
traveled
Cup
for a
playoff
Stanley
series.
Cup.
And it's about just over 4,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
So they got another 2,000 kilometers on that for the Ireland.
Hey, you wanted this.
But I like this. I love this. Because you were saying the other day that you need to get them out.
I've never liked them being in here.
It raises the bar of the whole league.
No doubt.
It makes the players better.
No doubt.
If you get rid of South Africa in the URC,
yeah,
it's doing a disservice to the players.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. They raised the bar of the competition. Huge.
You think so? I thought it was fine before.
Yeah, but you can notice a difference in these teams, especially when they go play in Champions Cup or internationally. What South Africa is doing, what they bring to, especially if you see the difference between now the All Blacks, without the South African teams versus when they had them.
Yeah.
Right? They bring that intent. They raise the bar of the whole competition.
I'm going to think about that and come back to you, but I disagree.
And
my heart disagrees.
If you didn't have them in there, they would go somewhere else and help that league.
Well, they were helping Super Rugby,
Yeah. And then,
I don't disagree with anything you've said on they do make the competition, they do raise the standard of the rugby, they make it more exciting, etc., etc. I just don't like this weird mutant league we've got. I don't want half the planet in one league. It feels weird.
Sound like an Australian. We'll talk about it. I
do not sound like an Australian because I'm not talking about rugby league.
You just wait till we get there and I'll start talking some stuff and then it'll be oh, I kind of sound like these guys.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's talk about Munster, Glasgow.
Glasgow, the best team, the best rugby team ever.
Let's stick to our guns. This was pure luck. This was pure luck.
I'm selling out.
They do not deserve to be here.
They totally do. They're the best.
I'm joking. No, that was...
They proved us fucking wrong. Glasgow played fucking... Now, don't get me wrong. Munster fucking dominated a lot of this game.
Yeah.
For Glasgow to stay in it and just slowly break... They almost broke down Munster.
They played their little hearts out. Little sounds patronizing. This is a final team now. Yeah.
They got some and they got especially too because they got 2 yellow cards in a row.
Yeah. And they survived that period and they got an intercept try.
Yeah. This was really Munster gotta feel really shitty after this one because this was the whole world thought this was theirs to win.
Yeah, they did. I remember in the Ospreys game, what I think Munster did very well was use their physicality and kick for territory well. They just controlled the game, right? They tried to do that against Glasgow and it seemed to be working at times, right? And Glasgow just found a way around, found a way through. They didn't use their physicality, although they matched them, but they did. They used their whole toolbox, right?
Even in their scrum, the Glasgow scrum was getting pumped by Munsters, And still, there's
It
nothing.
didn't seem to make any difference, though,
They
did it?
just kept in the grind.
Yeah.
They just kept in the grind. Even like Jack Crowley's kicking, like he was just doing a lot of these clearing kicks, like just directly to
George Horn.
No, not George Horn, but just directly to the back three in general.
Right.
So he'd like do these kicks directly and straight, and then just bring Glasgow back into the game.
Yes.
Just putting more pressure on themselves.
Yeah.
And then like eventually like Munster just like started giving away penalties.
Sorry, Josh McKay is who I meant, by the way. Josh McKay.
But they started giving away penalties, fucking up here and there. There was just, and then Nakavell like taking that red card, like just crushed the Souls.
Yeah.
Like just put them under an unnecessary pressure. Like they just kept putting themselves. They just like, how can we make this harder for ourselves? And then like Glasgow was like pressure. Like they just kept the pressure up, and then Munster just started crumbling.
Yeah, both Irish teams felt like they did a lot of the right things. They just didn't have the passion and drive to get over the line. I thought both Glasgow and Bulls looked well more up for it. You know?
Yeah,
and that makes sense in a way because they had more time to rest. You know, neither team got that far got as far as Leinster in the Champions Cup, right? So maybe that contributed. You have more time to rest and get ready for this game. I thought Hugh Jones was unreal. Like, him and Gary Ringrose kind of looked the same. I think they're from the same pod of clones. But he had a really good game.
Glasgow's Lucy's were good too.
They were.
Ferguson, Dempsey, and Darge.
They were.
Yeah. Oh man, they had to stealing balls.
And they're not the biggest guys either, are they? Which is mad.
Yeah, Richie Gray too.
Yeah.
Like the whole pack, like they were just stealing balls from Munster.
They were.
Like just take. I wonder what the turnovers were, because it felt like every time Munster had the ball, Glasgow just walk in and then literally just grab it with their hands.
Just yank it out of their hands, The Munster ball didn't feel safe, did it? Which is why I think he was doing a lot of those clearance kicks, because they wanted to play for territory, not necessarily in possession in their own half a lot, you know?
Yeah, because it was just insane. Like every time I was like, man, guard the ball, guys.
Yeah.
Like get the ball. And then I felt, when I was watching this, I felt, Munster were just going to, at some point, take it away.
Yeah.
And then Glasgow just got better and better and better. And then and it's like, oh my God, they're gonna win this.
Yeah. And they did.
And they did.
Yeah.
So good on Glasgow.
Should we just mention the final then?
You want to talk about the final?
I think we just mentioned what we think is going to happen in a final. The Bulls against the Glasgow.
In South Africa. Shall we write Glasgow off once more for a laugh? No, I'm calling Glasgow to win it.
Are you doing that just because you feel bad?
Yep. Yep, 100%.
I'm going Bulls.
I think Glasgow are going to take it.
Yeah.
Because they are the Cinderella team of 2024.
I would love it if they won. If
they won, I'm going to be cheering for them hardcore.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything Glasgow have been doing though, so
they are a fast team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're going to be able to physically match the Bulls.
That's my main concern.
They're disciplined. Glasgow's disciplined as shit. But
I can't see it.
I think
the Bulls are a step up from Munster at this stage. In South Africa.
I'm not doubting them anymore. Glasgow is the team of the year.
They've proved me wrong several times. I just hope they prove me right once.
We shat on them.
We have shat on them, and I do feel bad. Like, I would love them to win. I just can't see it. My head is saying Bulls. You know?
Yeah, my dick is saying Glasgow.
All right.
So
let's join our dicks together and hope that Glasgow win. But I'm going to predict Bulls for the win.
I'm going to go with Glasgow.
All right, fair enough.
All right, what do you want to talk about next?
I want to talk about Carter Gordon, mate.
Carter Gordon. Oh my God, this is like, this is the Carter Gordon.
Yeah.
Signed for a rugby league team.
Yeah.
I didn't even look it up because I'm just such a lack of interest.
Give me some
in
details.
League, right? I don't know what team they're probably called the Giants or
No, do you know what they're named after weird small? They're probably called like the South something Badgers, because all the league teams are like rabbits and mice. It's like the animals of Farthingwood, the toads, the foxes, the owls. Yeah. It's like pick a ferocious animal. Nah, these are the mice.
Anyways, Australian media is like in shambles.
Yeah.
It's like, what a failure.
I know. Just as things were getting good again for Australian rugby.
It was a huge, that's a huge blow.
Tell me how big it is, because I'm not sure I appreciate it in terms of how good is Carter Gordon. I can't even say it in my own accent now. Carter Gordon.
Well, Carter Gordon has been the best 10 in Australian rugby.
Right.
For like the last couple of years.
He's 23, so...
Young kid.
Yeah, he's the future.
And he's already really good.
Yeah.
Right? Eddie Jones, like, destroyed him in the World Cup. Like,
yeah.
Because he put the whole World Cup on Carter Gordon's shoulders.
Yeah.
So that kind of destroyed his confidence. So when it came into the following season, a lot of people didn't know how he was going to respond to this.
And he responded well, though, didn't he?
He responded well.
Yeah.
Right? And like everyone's like, yeah, he's going to be the Wallabies 10 or in the mix.
Yeah.
Right? His kicking's not the greatest.
Right.
Right? He's kind of shaky on the kicking.
Right.
But to lose him, because he played for, what's the team that folded?
Rebels.
The Rebels.
Yeah.
And when they folded, like no one signed him.
Oh.
So what I was reading, he was without a contract. No one went after him.
Well, that's not going to help.
So NOR just like snapped him up.
Jesus.
So they were sleeping on him.
Ugh.
Like, why would you sleep on a kid like this? So like to get...
Maybe they just couldn't afford him.
For NRL to like lose a talent like that.
To gain a talent, the NRL.
Or NRL to gain a talent and for like Union to lose that's a huge blow. That just says a lot about the state, like how bad it actually is. It
feels Welsh as well. It's like every time something good happens, someone will join the NFL or something, or someone will joining something like that'll happen, right? So I feel Australia's pain because we're in a similar situation where it's like one step forward, two steps back a lot of the time. So yeah, this is a huge loss. Rebels fold in, him going. I'm split here because I really want Wales to do well on this tour, but I don't want us to do well because Australia are garbage. I want us to beat a good Australian team, and if he is like the best 10 they've got, that makes me sad. It's kind of like when we beat Fiji in the World Cup group stages. Hell of a game, but I felt so bad. I think it was Frank Lamani. Like, finally Fiji had a good kicking 10, and he got injured before the game, and I was genuinely upset by that because I wanted to beat a good Fiji team. Because when we beat Australia, we hammered them, and it was like, that was sad. They were shit.
Because everyone was hammering them.
Everyone was hammering them. And we took the biggest chunk because we played really well, but like they were garbage, and we met in the middle.
Yeah.
But I want a good Australia. Australia needs to be good for World Rugby, so this is bad for World Rugby. This is bad for everyone.
It's bad for everyone.
Yeah.
The best part, though, is the Australian media. Because they're throwing the blame everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, Eddie Jones has to take some of that blame, though, doesn't he?
Oh, he's getting the blame. They're throwing the blame here. They're throwing the blame there. A lot of it is, they're blaming a lot of it, like from what I'm hearing, on Northern Hemisphere stuff.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait to hear this.
Yeah. Like a lot of it, about how much, like, basically, like, England and the Northern Hemisphere have changed the game so much, they made it unwatchable and unpalatable for like Southern Hemisphere viewers.
What are you on
and
about?
now that it's such a different game, like no one wants to watch it anymore because they've nerfed the game so much. God. And it's the most garbage shit like I've been hearing. And it's like, okay, so rugby is bigger than it's ever been and growing like it's like the fastest growing sport in the Northern Hemisphere where they play rugby. Crowds are up, ticket sales are up, attendance is up, player participation.
Play in time, whatever the fuck you say, that is bigger
than it's ever been.
Than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Consistently.
So where have all these, so who has done the most rule changes? Who has done the most changing of the game of rugby union?
Yeah.
It's fucking Super Rugby.
Yeah. They're always trialing things, aren't they?
Yeah, trial wear this hat. They're trying to tinker with it and shit like that all the time. Yeah. They've made the most changes.
Yeah.
They fucked their own game and somehow made themselves believe that it's the Northern Hemisphere's fault.
We're a right pair of golems, aren't we? Sat here in my basement going, no, you are the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. They made all these changes and then somehow, because it was just, article after article. There's not a single article that comes out about rugby union and how they don't blame the Northern Hemisphere.
Slow, turgid, knock-on scrum fest that is Northern Hemisphere.
The game just so slow. Man.
Yeah.
The game is not the same guy.
It's unwatchable.
It's unwatchable, mate.
Yeah, I could go take a shit and come back and nothing had happened, mate.
So I don't know what they're trying to do. They want I don't know what they want.
We want rugby league.
Basically, the people down there think like we have to copy league as much as possible because league is gaining so much traction.
League is successful not because. Actually, no, I'm not going to speculate on that. But yeah, I totally agree with you. They're trying to copy the success of league, and I think they're doing it via the rules and not via the promotion of it, aren't they?
And the thing about the Northern Hemisphere is doing is they don't give a fuck about league.
No.
Like, what the fuck is league?
Yeah, well, north of England cares very deeply about
yeah,
it. But
in one little fucking area, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
but
no,
anyways,
I'm not disagreeing with you.
They don't give a
we can't
fuck.
discount it exists.
They're doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And the game is great up there.
Yeah.
And everyone's having a good time. They're all having a party while there's like a fucking fire, like a dumpster fire going on down south.
Yeah.
Like the Springboks, South African teams, they're like, yeah, well, everyone's having fun at rugby.
Yeah.
And then these guys over here, just like a fucking, like a dumpster fire going on over there.
Yeah, and I do feel bad for like Moana Pacifica and the Drua because things are happening for them finally.
Yeah,
and it's like, why did things have to start happening while Australia's on fire, metaphorically, and New Zealand are losing their minds and there's 12 people in the stadium, right? And I've no doubt New Zealand will be good in this summer series. I've no doubt they're always amazing. They've always got the talent. But
here's my conspiracy theory about the whole thing.
Oh yeah, here we go.
This is how much of how much under threat rugby union is down south.
Yeah.
I wish I had like, when you like scrolling through Instagram or TikTok and then you see like a podcaster and he's about to give like some kind of like weird be a man speech and there's music and stuff. I wish there was some music playing through this right
and
now.
It's like black and white.
Yeah, it's black and white.
And you're in a Peaky Blinders cap with a cigarette.
It's like, okay, listen up. So this is what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
Okay. If England come down to New Zealand.
Yeah.
And they win that series. Mm-hmm. This is what's going to happen. It's going to create this downfall. This is like my huge conspiracy, right?
Okay.
So New Zealand's going to completely crumble.
Yeah.
They're just going to completely give up on Union.
Oh.
They're like, fuck it. We're going
to be league.
We're all going to play league now.
They're going to rip off their shirts and underneath is the South Sydney Rabbitohs jerseys. And they're like, we're league now.
They're all going to play league now. And then what's going to happen after that is the New Zealand team, rugby league teams, are just going to start trashing the Australian rugby league teams.
Yeah.
And the Australian rugby league teams are like, this is fucking bullshit.
This is awful.
England has changed the game. They changed the league game so much. So they're going to stop playing league now.
Because Wigan Warriors in northwest England have ruined it.
Yeah. So they're getting trashed by the Kiwis all over again.
Yeah.
They finally got away from it.
Yeah.
They got away from Union. They have their own thing league. They're winning all the games. They're all happy. But now the Kiwis got in because they can't win at Union anymore. So they start trashing the Australians at league. So then they create a new rugby.
And it's called Australian Rules Football.
It's called Ultimate Rugby.
Ultimate Rugby. Yeah.
There's this.
So here's the ball. That's a frisbee. No. This is a rugby ball.
You throw the ball in any direction, tackle however you want.
It's a rugby ball.
All you gotta do is score the ball outside of the circle field. You just have to get the ball outside.
Yeah. You can tackle wherever you want.
Yeah. And then the cycle, or they go back to Union.
Yeah.
Australia goes right back to
the cycle
Union.
begins again. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's how much under threat they are. Like, because like there's just like every time you hear the punditry down south there, it's just they're so
hate filled, aren't they?
It's so negative.
It's very negative.
Like when they talk about rugby union, they just all they could talk about is how awful the game is.
And I don't know where that comes from. Does it come from a place of they grew up with rugby union and they're sad to see it die and they're angry and they're lashing out, or does it come from a place of let's blame someone else for our problems? It's hard to say, isn't it?
I think it might be just hard for them to take the era of the Wallabies and the All Blacks being like the teams to beat.
And All Blacks still are.
They still are.
They still are.
But they're losing more frequently now.
But
and
still, by their own standards,
Teams that have never beaten them have beaten them. Argentina has beaten them twice. Argentina has beaten the All Blacks.
They've beaten them twice, have they?
Yeah. Oh. Argentina has beaten them in their own backyard.
Yeah. That's good for the game.
They got to win in New Zealand. Yeah. Right? So, like, when they see results like that, they think the whole system is just fucking destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's, like, so I think that just now that they're being, like, a human team, like a real team. Like they basically
They're
are
still very, very good as well. So I don't think here's where I'm having a problem
but
with this.
they
Right?
don't see that. They don't see.
No,
that.
I get you.
That's
I get
the
it.
problem.
They're used to winning everything and not slightly
A
everything.
99% win rate is what win rate is what they're expecting.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And they don't have that anymore.
I love that they expect that for themselves. What my problem with, I agree with that. Well, I don't agree with the conspiracy theory. It's kind of funny though.
I don't either.
Obviously, yes. But so New Zealand will be fine, right? Their crowds might diminish, their domestic game might go down a bit, but everyone in that country loves rugby union. Australia are a very different problem. That's what I'm saying.
They're not fine though. They're not fine. Losing 3 games out of 16 has destroyed.
As much as they whine
fan
about
base.
it, they will be fine. Australia, on the other hand, I'm genuinely concerned about because, another reality is that people don't talk about is rugby union was the private school game there, right? Maybe it still is.
Still is.
And league is much more of a working man's game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And AFL is also like the sport of the people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think as and this happened in England to a degree, in Scotland and Ireland, where it was a bit more of a what we call public school, but what I mean is private school. That is changing, and that's a good thing that it's changing, right? In England, you see a lot of kids playing rugby now who don't come through these private school systems, and I think in Australia, all these kids who aren't in the private schools are just going to league instead, right? And I think that is a good thing because it balances out that socioeconomic thing, but it's definitely a bad thing for rugby union in Australia because it has failed to transition from this is a private school sport to anyone can play. They haven't made that transition effectively, right?
I think the decline of interest in union in Australia and New Zealand are first of all, they're two different.
That's what I'm saying.
They're two different things.
Yeah.
But I would say like the decline in interest in rugby union in New Zealand is due to their success.
Yeah.
Since they haven't been completely dominant.
Yeah.
Right. It's just created all this doubt in the game all over the place. They're trying to put the blame somewhere.
Yeah.
They
are. I think that's more funny than a sign of the end times, though, in New Zealand.
And it's all this isolation talk too. So a lot of talk in Australia right now is splitting the Super Rugby up, just having a domestic league.
Yeah, that's true.
They wanted because they're just tired of losing to Kiwi teams all the time.
Yeah,
and they think the product will be more attractive if they're just playing themselves.
I think New Zealand need to admit they just miss South Africa as well. They need to just text her, see what she says, right? What's the worst going to happen? They're not going to come back. It's over. The divorce is settled, but you can still be friends. But
going back to Australia, if you just have an Australian Super Rugby League and just a New Zealand Super Rugby League,
it wouldn't happen.
It wouldn't help them at all.
No.
Because now you're winning in your own home, but then when you go play someone else outside, and you get destroyed and trashed, it doesn't help the cause at all. I don't know how that helps. And a lot of these people, especially in Australia, think that that's the way to go, to have just a domestic league.
That's interesting.
And that will just hurt your game, your international game in general.
Yeah. Yeah, the Rebels going kind of shows you that wouldn't work at all anyway, would it?
No.
So,
So I don't know, Sanzar has made a lot of bad decisions. Sanzar is probably because Sanzar runs Super Rugby. They run the Rugby Championship.
Yeah.
I think if you dig deeper into this too, there's a lot of talk about how basically the New Zealand Rugby Union, there's a lot of animosity towards them too.
Yeah.
Basically taking resources, getting the majority of resources, kind of controlling where resources go.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of that's true and stuff, but you hear that a bunch.
You do hear that, don't you?
Yeah. So there's I don't know. It's a shit show down there right now. It's a shit show, and everyone up north is having this great party, loving the game.
Wales aren't.
No, you want to turn into Australia. We need to have a domestic league. Just play each other, mate.
We did just make a domestic.
See, that's how you're the same. That's why you sound
but ours sounds like it'll work fine.
Yeah, see,
I'm less worried about us. We're surrounded by functional rugby countries. I think rugby. There is definitely problems with rugby globally, but it's the best example of it collapsing is in Australia, isn't it?
But because the numbers, the stats, all the numbers and stats and the money flowing up north is saying a different story.
It is
They're
in
saying
some
rugby
countries.
is getting more popular everywhere, and in the southern hemisphere, well, there's Australia and New Zealand, for example. Like it's opposite. There's like a declining interest in the game.
Yeah, there is.
And they've been trying to tinker with the rules to make it more attractive, but it hasn't worked. So they think they need to go back to rugby. They need to go back to the basics. That's what they really need to do. Instead of trying to copy league so much and keep comparing to league, stop talking about league in every fucking conversation you guys have over there. Like every time you see a pundit on TV or on YouTube, they bring up league. They're talking about league. They're obsessed with league. They're like league. We need to be more like league. League does this. League does this. League does this better. We got to do this. Stop fucking looking at them. Just don't pay attention. If you don't look at them, it's like Slender. It's like fucking Slender Man. You know what Slender Man is. If you don't look at Slender Man, he can't get you. Like stop looking at Slender Man.
So come back to Carter Gordon though. We've made him to be like this. He's a metaphor for the decline.
Yes.
But the Melbourne Rebels folding is fucking huge as well. But Joe Schmidt, got big faith in him. I think if he can steady that ship and no one else leaves, they'll be steady instead of declining. And then the Lions tool, go ahead and everyone have a lovely time.
It feels like the summer internationals for Australia is kind of a make or break.
We're happy to lose to make Australia great again, because we'll be all right. Long term, I'm not worried about Wales. Right now, like they're shit, but we'll be all right long term. Do you know what I mean? I'm
not worried about Wales at all. They'll be. They got a lot of things going on. They got a lot of young kids coming in.
We'll drag our way back into it. Talent is not a problem.
Yeah. If you look at the Welsh, even if you look at the Welsh team right now too, there's a lot of young.
Totally, man. It's exclusively young, exciting talent.
Yeah. So I'm not even worried about them. They're in the right hands.
Yeah.
The Welsh Rugby Union's actually making a lot of decent changes.
They're making the right noises.
Yes, they are making the right noises. So I'm not even worried about them. But yeah, I think these summer internationals for the Wallabies is critical.
Yeah, it's kind of make or break.
It's kind of a make. I think that Eddie Jones kind of put them in that situation.
He definitely put a big old dent in Australian rugby. He put a dent
in there by doing that fuck around. Like if they would have had a decent World Cup.
Yeah, imagine Michael Hooper and Quade Cooper.
Yeah, if they would have had a decent World Cup.
Yeah,
and, they didn't exceed in anything, but they had a decent. They made it to the knockout stages.
Yeah,
they might have made it to the semis, or they had a really good quarterfinal game.
Yeah.
That would have changed the mentality, but since it was such a fucking embarrassment, for them, it really he was like Eddie Jones was nailing that coffin right before he was just like.
No, he's got to take a lot of the blame, doesn't he?
He does have to take a lot of the blame. Rugby Australia too in general, what's going on there? Like, what are you guys doing for the game? Like, I don't know. It's just,
Yeah, I think money. Anyway, let's move on because we could talk about that forever.
We talk about that forever.
Yeah, and I would rather let's get an Australian to come and tell us things as well because I feel like we speculate a lot. But
it'd be like it's all England's fault, mate.
Well, maybe it is. I don't know.
They changed the game. The game is not the same game.
Turn it into a crime scene, mate.
Turn the bloody game into a crime scene.
Tell me about Gallagher we can't speak today. What's wrong with this? Gallagher Premiership promotion and relegation reintroduction.
You tell me about it. You were the one that brought it up.
But it's a framing device. You don't actually have to fucking tell me something.
You put it on the agenda.
It's a narrative framing device. I will introduce it and we discuss it amicably.
Okay, I'll tell you about it.
You're like, fuck you, buddy. I don't know anything.
Yeah, just throw it on my shoulder. Steven, can you lead us into this conversation that
I'm framing?
I wanted to bring to the table.
I want to talk about this. You give me your shitty opinion, and I'll tell you how you're wrong, okay?
You tell me about it.
All right, Gallagher Premiership have reintroduced promotion and relegation in a 2-game playoff system, right?
Okay, now I'll tell you how I feel.
You fucking knew that. All right, tell me how you feel.
I was kind of like promotion and relegation leagues I've always been kind of on the fence with. I kind of been him and Han a little bit like here and there. I think there's some really good things about it. I think there's some things that are kind of I was like it doesn't really work out.
Got a very North American opinion about it, haven't you?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do. I think in general my consensus is it's a good thing. Mm-hmm. It's cool.
Yeah, but
cool.
It makes every game matter.
It makes every game matter.
Yeah.
The thing though about the English Premiership promotion relegation is once you get lower below the Prem, the clubs are like
You're playing. The changing room is a shed.
Yeah, it's not the quality drops.
People are standing in the parking lot watching the game.
Yeah, so you're like, where does the relegation, like, who makes it here? Like, because if you look at their setups, like, some of them are playing in fields. Some of them don't even, like, some of the championship teams don't even have stands. Like, one club has just a bunch of random benches that I think they've collected from
over the years.
Various
restaurants.
Various restaurants
closed
or
down.
like renovations. Like, hey, we don't want these benches anymore. Do you guys want them? Because they're all different.
And they've got a few taped together to make a bleacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was actually kind of surprised by how some of their setups were pretty similar to like ours in Canada here, in like beer league rugby here.
Oh, you don't only have to go that far low for it to look exactly the same as amateur Canadian rugby.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, this looks like very like this setup looks very similar to ours. Like this is a pro team. Like, they're professionals, right?" Yeah. So, but I have also heard that like some clubs in the championship there's some money men coming in.
I think that's one of the reasons they feel more comfortable doing this. But, the Gallagher Prem has regulations about that. You can't join the Premiership unless you have a certain capacity in your stands and you have a certain standard in your clubhouse, etc. Right?
So that really just makes, like right now, if you go look at the Championship now, that makes 2 clubs eligible that aren't already in the Prem.
Yeah.
If you look at their stadiums, there's like
let's
2.
not call them stadiums.
Or they're grounds.
Yeah.
There's like 2 clubs that meet that criteria.
Yeah.
That look like they could be a professional setup.
Yeah.
If you go to the 2nd division in France.
Yeah. Every single one in Pro D2 is a big old stadium, isn't it?
Dude, they're like, it's like more
but
impressive.
I think some of them share with football stadiums, though.
Yeah, but it's like, it almost looks more impressive than the Prem. Like, they're paying big money for players.
Well, they got more money, though, don't they?
Yeah,
that's
they're packing out stadiums, too.
Yeah, the fans love it. Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with anything you've said. I do think this is a great thing, though. Like, because it has always been like that, right? There was always promotion relegation. Let's not forget the last time someone was promoted, it was fucking Saracens in 2021. The big old money boys had to climb their way back into the Premiership after their disgrace, and they closed the door behind them. And since then, all these teams down there going, when Saracens played against us, like Ealing Trailfinders beat them twice in that season, right? So they deserve a shot at it, And I've no doubt Ealing could beat Newcastle right now, right? I've no doubt Cornish Pirates, Doncaster Knights would give them a run for their money.
I wonder how Newcastle's feeling. Like, oh, fuck.
Apparently, the further north you go, the more I hate the teams, right? So it's Glasgow, Newcastle, I've got no hope for you. No hope.
Like, Newcastle must be like, shit, because they were like riding. They were riding that Prem train, and they're like, they didn't give a fuck.
But imagine that motivation, though. That might have won them a couple of games, If, like, shit, we don't want to face the drop, that would have made those Gloucester, Newcastle games exciting.
Well, yeah, because there's rumors that, like, London Irish are coming back.
Yeah, and they've got the capacity to.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Wasps come back into the championship.
I don't think they're allowed to because they literally have their brand is bankrupted.
Well, so was the London Irish.
I think it was under different. So anyway, I don't want to speculate
because I know that there's lots of talk about the Wasps.
Right.
Wanting to join a competition, looking for a competition.
Oh, okay.
There's money coming together.
There was rumors of them coming to the URC, actually. Yeah.
So I could see them coming back in there.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that there was like some money coming into the Cornish Pirates.
The truth has never stopped us spreading gossip. So
no. So like I heard they're like looking at like a push.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if this is true or not, and I couldn't find.
Anyway.
But I know I was reading it somewhere.
I dreamt it.
Unless it was a dream, but I'm pretty sure.
I was on a vision quest, and Cornish Pirates got a lot of money in that vision quest.
There were some like some money men coming into the Cornish Pirates too.
Yeah.
So, and you know what's good about this too? That having the championship and stuff, it really gives a lot of like people that want to own teams, that want to put money into a professional team, gives them a really good starting point. You can buy a team like, I don't know, the Cornish Pirates, for example.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend a lot of money, and you can take time investing and building into that team. So it's like if you buy a professional team, you're putting in a lot of money.
Yeah, they are a professional team, though.
Yes, like a Prem team. Sorry.
Yeah.
If you buy like a top top league team anywhere.
Right. Where the wages are significantly higher.
The wages are significantly higher. Everything has to be top notch. And you have to be winning right away.
Yeah.
Like you have to have results right away on everything.
Yeah.
So you put in a profession like a team in the Prem, like you have to be on the ball like right away, right? Otherwise you're going to lose a ton of money, and you are going to lose a bunch of money. But buying a championship team or getting into it, investing in a championship team gives that investor leg room, gives them time. They don't have to pour in a ton of money all at once.
I think Bristol and Exeter are good examples of that, because after their promotion, their rise was steady, sustainable. Yeah, Bristol have dipped a wee bit, but both of those teams feel at home in the Premiership.
Yeah.
Right?
So you don't have to rush money. You don't have to do any rushing when you start investing through a championship team into the Prem.
Yeah.
You can slowly build it, take your time, make sure you have the right people in the right places, and build a top level club.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I do.
Right? You just got a bunch of clubs there waiting for someone to come with a checkbook, and I think it makes it, in my eyes, it makes it really accessible for someone to invest in.
Yeah.
And yeah, you could just mold this team into what you want.
Yeah.
And you're not in really a rush, and you don't have to make huge financial investments all at once. You can take your time.
Yeah.
This year we'll do this thing. Next year we'll work on this thing.
Yeah.
This thing will renovate this thing.
Yeah.
Right? And so you're doing systems. I think it's cool. And yeah, it gives, I don't know if like the championship like advertises that enough and stuff, because like I think that that's a great like way for someone to like trickle their way into.
It is all about money, though. At the end of the day, I agree with everything you said.
You need
but
to have the money.
You need to have some guy with a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not happening.
And that's why I think the championship is good, because it's not such a financial burden.
This is like a sales pitch from you. It's like, if you are a guy with a lot of money, this is a better investment than buying a Premiership team or a French team, like, because you can build it slowly, make it sustainable, and you will eventually get your money back.
And mold it how you want. Yeah. You don't have to.
And it can be your baby. You don't have to appease anyone who's already up there. You've got some star players who want to stay there, etc. It's like, this can be your baby, right?
You can get a new coach this year.
Yeah.
Next year you can paint the stands.
Yeah.
Like,
Next
have to,
week
like,
we can build a parking lot. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to like. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. No, that's great.
I want to go buy. It
sounds like a hybrid solver. I'll tell you a story though. I went to a Sale Wasps game in Sale before I moved to Canada. Me and my dad went. They've got a beautiful stadium in Sale, very modern, but the parking lot, the car park, is leaving took us an hour because there was no lines. It was just a massive gravel. I don't want to call it a field. It was just this huge space where everyone parked, and it took an hour to get out because there was no direction. So it was like they had built up everything else and forgotten one detail, right? And it was a kind of reflection of English Premiership rugby. As much as everything looks fancy and professional and competes with Ireland and France in terms of, there's still some money problems even at the Premiership level, right? Like there's not everything is golden there. Despite Northampton winning this season being an amazing story and it being such a competitive season, let's not forget they've lost three professional teams in the last couple of years, Worcester, RIP, Wasps, RIP.
Yeah, and a lot
London
of that
Irish.
money mismanagement.
Yeah.
Trying to compete with player wages that were just
that's the big one,
not realistic at the time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things. They're just trying to play a game that they weren't financially ready for.
Yeah.
And money, you need money to win. Like look at Bath.
Yeah.
Like you got to spend money to win.
Yeah.
That's how it takes. That's professional sports.
Totally. Yeah.
Right. So it's nothing against like anything else, but
no.
Did I just say Bath won the championship?
No, but their investments were worthwhile because they were shit last year and they were good this year, and they had to spend money to do that. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the only thing about the promotion relegation going back into the Prem 2 is that going to hurt the Champions Cup?
Why would it?
Because you saw over the years teams sacrifice the Champions Cup in order to maintain their spot in the Prem.
If you're in danger of relegation, you're not going to be worried about the Champions Cup because you're probably not going to be in it.
Because there's going to be teams that were going to be in. Because there was teams before that were like saving players for the Prem.
Yeah, this is the big disadvantage and this is a very European problem. This is the big disadvantage of having multiple competitions going on at the same time for the same clubs, right? So there are going to be times where they have to field a weakened side in an important competition because they've got to avoid relegation or because they're on a run to win their own domestic league. You have to accept that. So when people are going on about they need to investigate the Bulls and Leinster did that, I laugh about it and it's funny, but the reality is if you want more than one competition, that's going to happen, right? And they have put 40 players, whatever it is, on a list and go, these are the people who are eligible. We are allowed to pick not the best ones sometimes. And fuck you, mind your business. These are your rules, not ours, right?
Also from a viewer perspective, the Champions Cup is a great. I love it. Because you're like, oh wow, they all get to play against each other. But having a pool stage, I think, is kind of just too much.
The format of it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
this
putting
year.
it
condense it a bit.
I would condense it a ton. I would make it a lot. I would just make it a knockout stage. They all just enter a knockout pool, right? And then they just continuously play, and then other teams just drop out, and then they just keep going.
It's an elimination
until there's one. There's one left, right? You don't need a Champions Cup pool stage stuff, in my eyes. Just have it a straight knockout right to the top.
I think there's a middle ground there. Just don't have as many as you did this year. Just they had a format for it a few years ago. It was perfect. Slightly less teams, pool stage, quarters, semis, final.
Because everyone got into the knockout stages.
Oh, it was silly, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
it was silly. I think Munster lost a bunch of games and managed to make the knockouts, and it was like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I think they won one game. That's it.
Yeah. It was a bit silly.
So it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, the format doesn't make sense. It was a mess. It's just not.
Just condense it a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's too much.
Yeah,
it is too much, and that's how you get those situations. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the games next weekend? We got some big games.
Big games.
We're gonna have a sleepover.
Yeah, we are. So we're gonna start with Japan
and England,
and that is going to be on at about 12 o'clock at night, isn't it?
Yeah, our time.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for that one.
Oh man,
I'm excited to see what Japan have been up to. Yeah.
I'm not expecting much.
No, I'm not expecting much. But if anyone knows England, it's Eddie Jones.
Yes.
So he's definitely got a plan.
He's also the right type of coach for Japan.
He is.
Like a dictator.
People just listen to him. They don't question it. They work very hard on their fitness.
Yeah.
They execute his plan perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
There's no egos in the Japanese.
It's a collectivist culture, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And he is, I think he is a quarter Japanese as well. So.
Yeah, his mom's Japanese.
Yeah, so he kind of fits into, he speaks the language reasonably well.
Now, yeah, actually, it is kind of more of a. You don't know what to expect coming out from there because their competition over there is high quality.
It's gotten under my radar at least. It has improved significantly.
And they got top quality players from around the world playing in multiple different tiers.
They do, and they're actually filling their stadiums reasonably well. So
it's not like, what is it called, the top league? It's not just the top league that's bringing in the superstars too.
Yeah.
You got players playing like 8th division.
Yeah.
Like Japan.
Because Japan doesn't have a money problem because all of these teams are owned by massive companies. It's like Coca-Cola, Suntory.
They're just tax write-off teams.
I don't know how they maybe, but that they don't give a shit about the money because the money is just like, this is the entertainment for our company, you know? It's a totally different model, and I don't think we understand that in the West.
Yeah,
because
aren't
South
like the employees
or whatever.
Expected to go to these games?
I heard that. And I remember reading this thing with, I think it was James Haskell years ago when he was out there. He was saying, when you are employed but as a rugby player, you are employed as a company employee, so you still have to wear a suit and go to the office. You're just a rugby player who works for the company.
Yeah.
So it's a totally different system. It's very corporate, but if it's working for them, that is good for the game. So whatever, let them do it.
I know Japan was starting to play. They play a very they kind of copy the All Blacks in their style a lot. They play a very fast game. They work to their strengths. They're not the biggest guys.
No,
but they work.
They're so fit.
They're so fit.
And they got really fast guys.
I heard they're playing this game in the middle of the day in the heat.
They probably planned that on purpose.
Yeah. So I think there was a quote where Eddie Jones like, yeah, let them burn or something like that.
Let them burn, man.
Yeah. So they're being strategic at that point. So it's gonna be hot too.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fucking hot.
Yeah.
In Tokyo.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be. I think England's gonna have a tough game. One thing, it's not gonna be easy for them.
No, and it will prepare them nicely for the New Zealand game. Actually, like I think they'll win, but I do think this is a good sort of baptism of fire to go. Like, you've had little breaks in Six Nations. Welcome back to international rugby.
I just wonder what kind of team Borthwick's gonna pick for this. Like how serious he's gonna take this game. Like, is he going to put out the guns, or is he going to...
No, I think he will. I think he needs to... He still has to prove some things, and that proof comes from winning games.
Because he's going against the Godfather. He's going against his...
That's right. Like,
he's going against his mentor.
That's right. You cannot lose to Eddie Jones. So he's going to play the best team he thinks... Yeah, he's not playing a development side here. Like, he's going to play a... I'm not saying he'll play his absolute starting A that you'd put in a Six Nations, but he's going to pick a team he wants to beat Japan, So that might look a bit different, but it's not going to be a development side.
And 110% Eddie Jones wants to destroy.
Exactly,
him.
yeah.
Like, he wants
exactly.
to win.
He's got a point to prove, and so does Borthwick.
Yeah.
So both coaches have big motivations to win this game.
This is a grudge match.
We've made it into a grudge match.
This is a grudge match.
Speaking of grudge matches, South Africa, Wales in Twickenham. I'm joking. It's not a grudge match at all. I might just not even watch this. We're going to get battered.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
I think Razzy's going to put out...
The training panelists.
He's going to put the training panelists out.
Yeah.
I have a big feeling he's going to put a lot of green players. I think it's going to be a very young.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see two very young teams going at it next Saturday with
young for Wales because we haven't got anyone. Young for Razzie because and there's another element to that because he does have some injuries, which I'm going to mention. So Kitsoff, Luke de Jager, John Klein, Damien Willemse, Moody, Kirtley, and Aaron Dresser. Sorry if I'm fucking that up. They are all injured at the minute. So Rassi he knows he's playing Ireland. He knows he wants to win that.
This is also not in... These two games are not in the international
No, they're money
window,
makers.
So there's still some players he can't pick.
Right. Good point, yeah.
So you're going to see a development box side.
That's true.
Come up there. I think, he's gonna bring in a very... He's gonna trial a lot of players. This one, he's gonna take this as a very trial type game.
I think so too, and I think Wales really will play an A squad because they absolutely have to win.
Yep.
They've got to build some confidence.
They're still they're kind of in the same boat too. So this is gonna be two young teams.
Yeah.
And you're gonna see where these two young teams are at, and I think it's gonna be actually really exciting.
I think so. You've convinced me a bit there. Yeah.
Two young teams.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get to see what the future looks like.
I think it'll be quite error-strewn, though. I don't think it's going to be the most flowing game.
I don't think it's going to be... I definitely don't think it's going to be a knockout. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think Springboks are coming.
Like a close game.
I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a very competitive game because you're going to have a bunch of
lots
young
of lads, points to prove.
Yeah, bunch of points to prove.
Yeah.
I think actually... If I'm right about this, if I'm right about what Razzy's going to do for the sake of who's going to win the game, I think Wales have the edge because these young players have been playing with each other. They played a Six Nations with each other.
Yeah, but they didn't win a game.
They didn't win a game, but they got a lot of experience.
Yeah.
And in every game, except for one or two, they were really competitive and almost won.
Yeah.
So they weren't far behind. It wasn't like Wales were getting destroyed.
No, that's true.
Right? That's the one thing that people they lost basically every game.
Yeah.
But they
only really got hammered by Ireland, didn't they?
Only got hammered by Ireland.
Yeah, they were in every other game. And they were winning at points in many of those games. Yeah.
They could have beat England.
Yeah, they could have.
They
kind of blew that
should
one.
have beat Scotland.
It was close. Yeah, it was close. Italy deserved their win, I will say, but it was close. Yeah, I mean, they were all close.
Yeah, you're going to see. So if I had to say who has the advantage in this one, just for a sake of winning, and what I think Razzy's going to do, I think Wales have the advantage here.
Fair enough.
I think Wales could win this.
Playing in Twickenham's weird, though.
Yeah, what is up with that?
That's a money thing. It's a money thing.
Why aren't you playing at Millennium?
I think because Taylor Swift's performing there or something.
Again? Isn't she performing there every
She's
week?
in residence. It's like Las Vegas in the Millennium Stadium now.
It's what the fuck?
Yeah, she's there every week. I think, there was a bunch of money makers for the Millennium where they had Pink and Taylor Swift performing.
such a weird. Like, is there not another stadium in Wales to play a home game?
Yeah, there's plenty, but the point, I think they made some deal with South Africa where it's a South African home game. It's something to do with who gets the gate money or something.
Oh,
maybe,
okay. So that
maybe.
makes sense. So South Africa is going to get the gate money.
I think so. Yeah.
And
Well, or half of it. I don't know. There's some money things going on, basically. You know.
So maybe if it is a money thing and they want to sell tickets, Razzie might bring his A squad up.
Here's the
put
thing,
on a
though.
show.
I don't buy a ticket based on the team that's announced, right?
Yeah, you don't.
You think people do that?
I think so.
You think a week before people look at a team and go,
I bet you there's a difference in ticket sales when DuPont plays and when he doesn't play.
"Ooh, that's a good point."
How many people wanted to go and watch Michael Jordan play?
That's a good point.
There
That's
was a
a very
thing-
North American but true angle on this.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories about like certain players
Yeah.
coming to other teams
Yeah.
hometown,
Uh-huh.
and then the stadiums sell out just because people want to see that player who's not even on their team play.
Who's the South African you would be like, okay, he's playing, I'm going to go watch? So it's not as easy to say with South Africa.
Probably like Etzebeth.
Yeah, I'd say
He'd
like,
be impressive to watch.
I'd love to see Khaleesi play.
Yeah, I've
Just
seen
felt
South
like
Africa
him.
play twice in person.
Yeah.
So, but
Who is it for Wales?
yeah, Sia Khaleesi too. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot. They have a lot of characters on their team.
They do.
So,
yeah.
like that's a team. Like, but I would go and see. But if I had a chance to go see like DuPont play in person, I've never seen him play in person. I would love to see that.
He's almost like, he's a very good example of what you're saying, but it's hard to think of any other very good examples like that. You know, if I knew he was playing a game of rugby
Finn
somewhere,
Russell,
yeah, that'd be fun. I do like a bit of Marcus Smith as well.
Marcus Smith, Owen Farrell. I bet you a lot of people like want to watch him play.
Yeah. Anyway, point is,
Dan Bigger.
yeah, well, he's out now.
I bet you Lee Halfpenny was a draw back in the day.
Yeah,
I can go on.
fair enough.
Johnny Sexton.
Shut up. I get the point. Get your point. But yeah, I don't know about who's good. Yeah, I will make a prediction when I see the squads, is what I'm saying. I don't know. It depends.
Yeah,
who they
I'm
play.
going off speculation. If
fair enough.
Razzie takes in an experimental young squad, Wales' young squad have been playing together more.
Yeah.
So I think they might have the advantage.
Yeah, we are just so low on confidence right now. We just need a win. Feels weird to play South Africa.
It will be big for Wales to get a win, too.
We've beaten South Africa plenty in the last 10 years as well. That's not the problem.
Yeah,
Like,
and so they didn't. It's not like South Africa is a blue whale or
a white whale.
white whale.
Yeah.
To them,
Yeah.
they can do this. They've done it before.
Yeah.
And it'd be good confidence going into the Wallabies
Australia.
series.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Fair enough. And then there's Barbarians Fiji on that week, but I don't think
it's kind
I'm
of
gonna have
weird.
time to watch that.
No.
Yeah.
The Barbarians are going to let the props do the kicking. They just fuck
So
around.
yeah, they have a bit of a party.
I've actually never watched a Barbarians game.
Really?
No.
They are fun, but you do lose interest unless it's competitive. About halfway through, I go.
Oh, that's not true. I actually watched the one where the Barbarians played England and they won, and Chris Ashton was on there and he scored some like sick tries in front of Eddie Jones. He's like, "Yeah, this is what you get for not putting me on the team." And then then Eddie Jones puts him in the England squad for like one game or something like that. That was a few years ago.
Yeah.
But I think we talked about everything that we were going to talk about.
We covered a lot of stuff.
We had a lot to say. Go on some rants.
Yeah, you were hyper focusing on Australian rugby for a hot minute there.
Yeah, because it's just it's great. It's juicy. It's just a juicy, fucking
I had to
dumpster
kind
fire.
of peel you away a bit. It's like you've already beaten someone to a pulp. I had to pull you off. He's like, he's dead. He's dead. Leave him.
Already dead.
Do you know another thing about League?
Well, friends, you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on X. And anywhere you can download podcasts, you can pretty much find us. And if you want to ask us any questions, you can email us at thefriendsofrugbypod@gmail.com. All right, have a good one.
Bye-bye.